Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the DC Multiverse Martin Manhunter. I wanted to do this thing where I was going to call him Martin throughout the whole video, but then I realized the internet doesn't always get jokes, and I don't want to do that. So, it's Martian Manhunter. He's actually one of my favorite DC characters, so I'm very happy to be reviewing this. Is it any good? The McFarlane DC line has had some, shall we say, missteps along the way, and they do seem to be kind of gathering themselves and making a better attempt at things, and this figure has a lot of that going into it, so I'm very excited for some of the stuff that I'm seeing here. Other stuff, not so much. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Martin stands just about 18 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 7 1/8 inches. So he has a little bit of height on him. Let me grab a Batman. Hang on. I wasn't going to do a height comparison because I didn't think it necessary, but let's do it. Especially since people keep asking me to review this guy, and I'm going to review it. He's about the same as Batman. I thought Martin Manhunter should be a little bit taller than Batman, no? I thought so, but maybe not. You guys can let me know. Okay, so question of the day. Which version of Martin Manhunter do you think is the best? I do like this one, like with this is New 52, right? I think it is, with the shoulder pads and the like sexy stripper outfit type thing. It's all right. I like the pants part, but I could definitely do without the extra straps and things. Just the normal thing. I'll put an image up. That's my favorite look, but this one's pretty cool too. I like it. Okay, so here he is. How's it look? There's some really good stuff going on here. The sculpt work for the muscles, way better than normal. You can see his pecs actually stick out. You can see the muscles in his ribs. His abs have defined muscles. His arms have defined muscles all the way around. His shoulders are well defined. I do hate the fact that they're doing this though. They keep sculpting the top part of the bicep into the shoulder. So when you rotate it, you just get this lump of where the bicep would go. Super weird. Stop doing that. Stop that. Don't do that. Sculpt the shoulders as a shoulder and the bicep as a bicep. I don't get that. That's weird. But otherwise, it does have very nice sculpt work, very nice anatomy. The proportioning, I didn't zoom out. The proportioning is really good overall. It's very nice. He has sufficiently long thighs, appropriately lengthed. That's not a word. Lower legs. The arms fall right about where they should be. Everything looks pretty good. His head's not too big or too little, like he has a weird alien head, so that's fine. It's supposed to be kind of big. I think they did a much better job on this guy than we've seen in a lot of releases. We do have some discoloration in the elbows and the wrists because it's a harder plastic that they didn't match the colors with appropriately, so that's a bit of a bummer, but no big deal. The line work on the red line work is super clean. Could be a little bit more opaque, but it's still really nicely done overall. The yellow is good. His cape is a nice sculpt, kind of, but then also it's terrible because it's like this windswept look, but it gets longer and longer and longer as it goes, so unless I'm wrong, it's possible that this version of him has an asymmetrical cape, and that's what they were going for. But if they're just going for windswept, no, this is like it got stretched because it's longer here. It's going down farther and farther out, and this doesn't have like any big billows or anything. It's basically flat, so it's just a weird sculpt. But the cloth sculpt work, specific details are nice. So that's okay. But yeah, I hate that it looks like it's actually been stretched. That's really weird. It almost does look like that's actually what happened in the software. Like it's symmetrical and then they used this and just kind of tugged on it. Not good. Not good. This should be whatever. Yeah, so that's weird. But overall, it does look good. Last thing I want to mention, well, it's kind of two things. One thing is that there's lots of texture work throughout. You can see down here on his peeper cloth, it's pretty good there. And then there's little textures like on these guys up here, on his pants and his boots. A lot of texture. But here's the thing, the other thing. His pants, which are pants, have the exact same texture as his skin, which is skin. I know he morphs to look the way he looks, but all of the other cloth parts have different textures than his skin, but his pants have the same texture as his body. Not a great look, but otherwise it's pretty good looking. I'd like the face also, we'll talk about that briefly. The eyes are nicely done with the black shading on there. The weird black line for the lip is a little questionable, but yeah, it's really good looking. Really good looking overall. Definitely a few things to tweak, but it looks pretty good. I'll go 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic on this guy. I could do 9. Should I do 9? For 20 bucks, I'm going to do 9. 9 out of 10. They did a good job overall. Now, as far as accessories go, get ready for this. Possibly, not probably, but possibly the best set of accessories for any figure ever of all time. Accessory number 1, we get this awesome, fantastic black piece of plastic in it's sort of a round shape, and then it has this little nubbin right here. Very nicely detailed. If you look at it up close, you can see it sticks out from the flat part in this direction, like it goes up. Very, very well executed. It's very, very nicely done. They did a little bit of a print work on there for the DC logo. That's about as good as you could possibly do on that. I love that. And then if you flip it over, you'll notice they didn't just put the details on the top. We do have these little round dots on the bottom that are very hard to focus. There we go. You can see them now. They just add so much character to this display stand. And if you look even closer, we'll zoom in tight for this one. There's a little bit of a lip going all the way around. And what that does is it makes it a little bit thicker without using extra plastic. So it lifts the figure off of the surface just ever so slightly more, while keeping the display stand nice and thin and light. So that is just a really, really exquisite example of how you make a black circle display stand. And then the next accessory, which is probably even better, is this collector card, which does feature the actual action figure that you just purchased in paper form. So if you were tired of looking at the actual thing that you wanted to pay money for, you could just look at this and it would get the job done. Like, that's basically the same. Like, it's basically the same thing. So they just really, really nailed the ease of use of the collector card. If you want to look at it, it will be sitting there to be looked at. So it's very, very well executed. There's super harsh lighting on it to make it look dramatic, and a little bit of Photoshop on the eyes to make it look like it lights up. Nothing better than Photoshopping your own action figures on the collector card. And then if you look on the back, we have a very basic bio, which could be pulled from any Google search, and it's just very nicely applied to the card. You can read it. It's definitely readable. And that's a word we're going to use. So yeah, very, very nice. It's a nice cardstock. It's not very flimsy, but not too thick to be deceptively high quality. So those accessories are just top of the line. I'm going to go 0 out of 10. And so let's move on to the articulation, because we don't have an accessory for the hand to hold, and we don't have an alternate fist hand. We don't have those things. I can't go on, and then that would give us a 10 out of 10 probably. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation now that we're done doing what I just did. Double ball peg for the head. It does have pretty good range despite the things being in the way, like the collar and the head and the neck and everything. It works nicely. I'm very pleased with that. It gets a nice lean to the side. Up and down's good. Rotation's fine. The collar is soft, so even though it's a little cumbersome, no problems really. This is also soft. It is glued on by his chest area right here, so it can't flex too much, but it can flex to get the arm out to the side. I like that. That's fine. Arm's a little looser than I would like, but it's not floppy. You get your full rotation. Technically, it's just that the shoulder pad will get in the way, but it's not bad. It's good enough. The little ball socket cap thingy is there, so he does get a little bit of extra play. His is pretty effective compared to most, so it goes up and down. It goes all the way around. It's a big ball peg like Storm Collectibles. Works pretty well. Maybe the best use of that out of this whole line, so that's pretty cool. By the way, I'm not being sarcastic anymore. That was just for the accessories. Everything I'm saying now is legit. Okay, so bicep swivel is fine, other than the fact that the bicep is left behind on there. That's a little bit of a bummer. Double jointed elbow works nicely, though we do still have these huge cavities in there, which just don't need to exist. That's very, very strange. Would rather that not happen, but it does function, so that's okay. Ball hinge wrist, I'm okay with. It's a little bit big, but that does afford better range. However, do you need that kind of range for a fist hand? Probably not. For a gripping hand, maybe, but we know how much he can grip, so that's a bit of a problem there. Torso, we have some ball pegs in conjunction with each other. We get very little range going back, surprisingly. Normally we get a lot of range going back. We don't get much. It's acceptable, but not much. Going forward, we maybe get slightly more than we're used to, but it is still very, very minimal. So I would like to see some more range out of these joints. Side to side is pretty good. I like that. Rotation is fine. If you reach in here, you can rotate the lower one also. And let's see if that one leans side to side. Yeah, not really. So yeah, it's not great. It's not even good, really, but it's not terrible. It's not bad. So that's okay. All right, for the hips, let's see how these guys... His diaper's pretty low, so I'm thinking we're not going to get too far out to the side. Yeah, that's about it. Just better than 45 degrees. That's probably fine, technically speaking, but I do like my action figures to be able to do poses that they don't necessarily need to be able to do. So splits means kicks, limited kicks, kind of blows. Bringing the leg forward, the diaper is just too low. He can't bring his leg very far forward. That sucks. It does cover his butt cheeks nicely. McFarlane Toys does not mess around when it comes to butt cheeks. This guy's got some cake going on. He does the heavy squats, but limited range. We do have a basic thigh swivel in there at the hip, which is where to put it. That's the right way to do it. It's just so limited that it doesn't have that much range. Double jointed knee works nicely. I don't know why they cut the knee at a point. That's kind of weird. I mean, I'm guessing they did it to go in between the quad muscles right there, but just round it out, because once you bend it, it looks like he's got some kind of armor on or something. So that's a little bit weird, but it's not bad. That's fine. Don't really care about that. As far as the ankles go, big ball hinges, which actually fit the figure nicely and they give you good range, but they're so heavily ratcheted, you will have some trouble finding a good spot when you're getting him to stand. So just be aware of that, but you get perfect range in every direction, so there is that benefit. And the toe hinge is good enough. It's fairly stiff, that's what she said, and it's pretty far forward. It's a little too far back, but it's a good example of a toe hinge, so I'm fine with that. So ultimately, his articulation is maybe the best out of the less than slender figures in the line. It's pretty darn good. It's not impressive, but it's good. I'll give it an 8. I'd say that's pretty good for one of these guys and with the extra bulk he has. So yeah, I think this is a strong release. It's maybe their best one that I've reviewed. I'm trying to think back. Did they ever make one that I thought was better? Maybe Batman Beyond? But that figure had plenty of its own flaws. So this one might be it. He might be the best one yet. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to give him a final verdict of, for the price point, 9 out of 10. It's what some people might call a banger. It's a good one. I think you would like this. If you're a fan of Martin, then you might want to pick it up. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you probably should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.